Welcome to the Coffee Break Podcast. I'm your host, Marquese Howard, Marketing, Media, and Communications Coordinator for Riverside County Child Support Services. In today's episode, we'll speak with Elizabeth Lawrence, Chief Deputy Attorney for Child Support Services. She's going to sit down with us to discuss important legal updates that may impact your child support case. She will share with us new updates regarding the child support formula, which helps determine how child support is calculated, and more importantly, how that change can impact your child support amount. She will also highlight other changes that may benefit you and your family while discussing what to look forward to in 2025. So grab your favorite cup of coffee, tea, or water, settle in, and let's enjoy this break. Elizabeth Lawrence, thank you so much for joining the Coffee Break Podcast. For those that may not be aware of what your title is, would you mind sharing information regarding your background?
Oh, no, of course. And thank you so much for having me. My name is Elizabeth Lawrence, as you've indicated. I am the Chief Deputy Child Support Attorney here with Riverside County Child Support Services. I have been the Chief Deputy Attorney for going on 4 years. I've been with Riverside County for about 6 years, but I have been part of the child support program in different counties for about 18 years.
Okay, and as a Chief Deputy Attorney, what does that title entail?
As a Chief Deputy Child Support Attorney, it's my responsibility to manage the legal division within the agency. And the legal division is made up of 2 supervising attorneys, 15 line staff attorneys, and then, of course, our paralegals and document processing team.
Wow. Okay. So I know that there's been some legal updates and changes over the course of 2024 that you wanted to share some brief updates regarding it. So what are some of the changes within 2024?
Yeah, and I welcome this opportunity because I think there's a lot of information that the public needs to know. In 2024, and actually also moving into 25 and 26, there are many changes that have come, and it's important to keep everyone informed. So a couple of the changes that I would like to highlight, those that impact anyone who may have recently been released from incarceration. There are some changes to how we would calculate their child support, or better stated, their child support arrears. Also, anyone who may have previously been cash aided, received assistance, and they are no longer receiving assistance, but there are child support arrears that are due for the period of time when they received assistance. There are some changes there in terms of where that money will be distributed. So anyone who may be impacted by that definitely wants to stay tuned in. And most recently, as recently as September 1st, there were some changes to our child support guideline calculator that may impact a lot of the orders that we have, and also how we look to childcare and uninsured healthcare expenses.
Okay, would you mind just kind of starting from the top regarding incarcerated individuals and how those changes might be affected and how the public may not be aware of some of the changes that may impact their child support order?
Yes, so there has been, for several years now, the opportunity for us to administratively suspend the child support order of any individual who is incarcerated for 90 or more consecutive days. There are, certain qualifying factors, but for the most part, if you've been incarcerated for 90 or more days consecutively, that is something where we will be able to suspend the child support during your period of incarceration. The change in 2024 really has to do with the period of time before we can reinstate your old child support amount. And that means that we can start enforcing the old child support amount. It used to be that after you were released from incarceration, if you had not had your order modified through the court, then we would start enforcing that old order 30 days after your release. As of 1/1/24, anyone released after January 1st of 24 who otherwise qualifies for this suspension, we will no longer enforce that prior child support order until 10 months after your release. So that's quite a big change. It's allowing individuals to kind of get back on their feet after having been incarcerated for a period of time.
So it sounds like the best recommendation for the public or anyone knowing someone who possibly were incarcerated or know someone who's incarcerated is to contact the child support office to let them know, hey, I was incarcerated, or I know someone who was incarcerated during this time, and they have a child support case, to contact our office so then we're able to update and look into their child support order?
Yes, correct. And also for the parent receiving support, if their order is not presently being enforced because of this 10-month kind of delay before we can reinstate, it's important for them to know that if there is information of the individual having been released from incarceration and becoming gainfully employed so that they do have the ability to pay child support, that's important to report to us, because while we cannot administratively just start enforcing that order before the 10 months are up, we can absolutely file a motion to get before the court and have a new order entered. So for both parents, the individual who was released from incarceration, important to contact us so that we can make sure that we're properly enforcing or not enforcing their case. And also for the parent receiving support, important to keep us informed if they have any information on possible ability to pay.
Okay. And so you mentioned those changes happened at the beginning of the year regarding the incarcerated persons.
With regard to 10 months, that went into effect January 1st of 2024, yes.
Okay. And I know that some of the changes, we're talking about 2024 and the changes that happened. And that was a change that happened at the beginning of the year. You touched on two other changes that happened later on in the year, significant changes that may impact. Would you mind on touching on those two changes?
Sure. So one change that went into effect May 1st of this year has to do, really impacts individuals who were previously receiving cash aid assistance. They are no longer, but there are arrears that are owing, child support arrears that are owing for the period of time while they were receiving cash aid. We refer to those as formerly assisted arrears. In those circumstances, the money is technically owed as reimbursement to the state. Right. And that is how it is still, that's the characterization of that debt. And we will continue to enforce that. The change, however, which is very significant to the families, is that as of May 1st of 24, any money that we collect for that type of arrears now will pass through to the person who actually received the cash aid on behalf of those children during the period of time that those arrears accumulated. So what was the case, what has always been the case, is we would collect them and it is paid out completely as reimbursement to the state programs. Now that money will pass through to the former recipient in full amount. So very important, oftentimes because the money would get paid to the state, if the children had emancipated, so child support is no longer on the minds of the individuals who were formerly receiving the cash aid, and otherwise no other money is due, the the previously aided individuals who are now going to be due this money, they might not be paying attention to what's happening with their former child support case, right? Mm-hmm. They don't feel like they're in any way invested in it because they don't think any money is owed to them. What's really important with this change is to know that we are required to attempt to locate people that we've lost contact with so that we can pay the money collected out to them. So if anyone has previously received cash aid, is no longer cash aided with a child support that accumulated and is still owing for the period of time when they were cash aided, at a minimum, they want to call in, right? Kind of call in and see, do you have my information? Is the case still open? Because if we are able to enforce and collect on that, then the money would pass through to them.
That sounds like some great news for parents that may not be aware of some of these changes that could benefit them and their family. So that's great news to hear of what's happening in 2024. And the last thing you mentioned regarding was the guideline calculator. Would you mind on talking about the changes regarding the guideline calculator and how it can impact child support orders?
Sure. So as I mentioned, lots of big changes in 24. One of those big changes was became effective September 1st. And it has to do with the guideline formula, which is all determined by the legislature, right? I think most people are familiar that we enter the information that we receive with regard to income and visitation. We enter that into a calculator, but that calculator is designed based on a formula that is determined by the legislature. So earlier this year, they passed a law where effective September 1st, that formula changed. There was a change to that formula. So of course, it's going to impact the outcome of the amount that's due. And it's not going to impact every single household. But what is important to know is the same factors, income, visitation, all the factors that go into the calculator. If you entered them in August of 24, and now you use the exact same factors September of 24, because there's been a change to the formula, it might result in a different recommendation as to what your child support amount should be. What we are finding is that for lower income bracket individuals, it seems to be recommending a lower child support amount. For higher income bracket individuals, it seems to be recommending a higher child support amount. But every case is so unique, with all the factors being very specific to their family unit, that the best that I would recommend is, if anybody has questions, if they want to know how it impacts their case, they can either call us, or of course, if they have the factor information, again, most relevant income and visitation, they can also find that same calculator on the state's website for them to enter the factors themselves to see if it's going to change at all. And if it is, and they're interested in moving forward with a modification, they can absolutely contact us for that assistance.
So right now, parents have the ability to go to the state's website, enter in their information in the guideline calculator with the new updated formula to be able to see if there is a change in the child support order that perhaps benefits them and their family. And if they need to make a modification to their current child support order, then to contact our office so we can go through the process of modifying the child support order.
That is exactly correct.
All right. And so those are some big, significant changes that can impact families and help support families. And those are all the changes, and many more changes happened in 2024. And I know that you just highlighted some of the high level changes that happened within 2024 regarding the legal update. But for the changes that happened in 2025, what should the public expect or look forward to?
Well, there are some changes coming in 25 regarding driver's license suspensions. In 2026, there is going to be a change to how we establish orders, and we will certainly have more information available to the public on what is going to happen to presumed income orders as of 2026. So if you believe any of that impacts you, make sure you stay tuned in.
Yes, they definitely should stay tuned in to hear any updates in 2025 regarding any type of legal updates or anything else related to child support services. They'll be able to hear it on this break. And with that being said, my coffee cup is near empty. So that concludes this episode of the Coffee Break podcast. Thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If you want to find out where we're at in your community, please visit our website and click on the calendar option. From there, you can see all of our upcoming events, times, and other detailed information. And as always, I want to remind each and every one of you that if you need immediate child support assistance, you can visit our website and use live chat. Our live chat features allows you to chat with the child support specialists from any device, computer, laptop, tablet, or phone. We even make it convenient to make an appointment online. Whether it's in person, virtual, or over the phone, we want to make it easy for you to connect with us at a time that works best for you. And did you know our office is open one Saturday out the month? From 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., our office is open to better serve you. Please visit our website to find out when we are open for our next open Saturday. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you at the next break.